check it. I was looking into something when it comes to the alpha male, right? Based off of what we were just talking about, right? You see how you just get in like just given positions based off nepotism, just keep moving up the hierarchy. What would you think is a alpha male nowadays in society? What would an alpha male be to you?
What do you mean?
Like, like what is considered an alpha male? I guess the dominant male.
Yeah,
in
strong,
society.
assertive. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Someone who's sure of himself.
Right.
Gets results, take care of responsibilities, all that good stuff.
Right.
Tends to lead instead of follow.
But here's the thing that I learned about that. Like, I don't even want to be an alpha male like that, because they have issues too, especially if you're leading, and to your point, to all of this thing, if you're leading off of sheer power, and empowers the way the ability to just change things. You know what I mean? You have power, and it doesn't have to necessarily be brute force. But those alpha males that rule with power and do stuff because they can just do things, you know what I mean? This dominant, they create a lot of enemies. So their time in power is short-lived. So the real alpha is the person that could create alliances amongst lots of people. So I think that's more important. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like
I didn't even read that book.
But that's the real, like, because now that person can develop alliances to beat the dominant type of alpha male, right? Because that person has a bunch of enemies.
And sometimes that connection spreads.
And that's what happens. So we got a bunch of the I guess that the old traditional sense alphas just going around just doing alpha shit. Where it's just like, that's not really like power. That power is just short-lived.
Correct. That's like Trump power.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna beat everything. I'm just aggressive power.
Right.
Like I'm just gonna force my will.
But it's more about, and they study this with chimps, it's more about not creating enemies. And that's crazy. I think that's good. Like being able to just like say, yo, I don't have no enemies. That's the real alpha, really. Because he has no enemies, but he has nothing but alliances.
Yeah, you want to be on that Kendrick Lamar shit, like walk around New York on your bike and no security, like
you know what I mean.
You know what I mean? You want to be on that type of energy.
Exactly.
That's the energy.
Exactly.
You want.
As opposed, that's a really good example too.
That's the energy you want.
As
bro.
opposed to having to walk around with all your bodyguards,
Yeah,
because you develop so
energy.
many.
You don't want 50 energy.
I mean,
Right.
what's so alpha about walking around with all the security, right?
Like I said, we
When you
got it
think about
backwards. A lot of people got it backwards. Like I think people are still thinking about alpha as a traditional power.
Well,
You know what I mean?
to Giselle's point, is because you spent so long with your alpha aggressive energy that you've created. You pounded so many people in your past. You never know who's going to come back. Hence the bodyguards. Hence the looking over your shoulder.
He said
That's why it's not long lasting.
Yeah.
Correct. That's why you tend to use to get shot.
Right. So I guess so what society needs to look at is the people who are leading and have no enemies. That's the dope one. Because it's like how are they even
Ain't
do
none
that?
of those.
No, I'm talking about real enemies, like people that want to take your head off. Like, yeah, you can say word has haters, but nobody want to take our freaking
I
heads
mean-
off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about take your head off. Think about it. People who lead with abrupt power, not just physical, with like what I say goes. This is what happened. This is what we're gonna do. They create a bunch of enemies. They're not really alpha. Their shit is gonna be short-lived. That's for everybody that's doing that. Think about
Right,
it.
they might
You
end up
created
getting
enemies.
killed very quickly.
Right. And we use kill as a metaphor, for whatever it could be. Fire, terminator,
Yeah.
whatever the case. You know what I mean? You lose your bankrupt, it doesn't matter. If you were ruling that way with this abrupt power, what I say goes, that's just the way it's gonna go. You developing enemies, and that's not really what it takes. That's not really being an alpha.
No, that's that dictator shit. And that's why they always get assassinated. Because people don't like you with that
So
aggressive
people basically
nature.
have the wrong idea of what an alpha male truly is.
Right.
I think it's just they just pick and choose what traits they choose to associate, because it still comes down to like being able to make great decisions, being able to lead. You're still doing that. You're just leading from a different position in the car. That's
What
all
we
it
talking about,
is.
the abrupt power?
No, just being an alpha. I mean, because part of that is leading as well.
Right, but you have to be able to develop. More importantly, you have to be able to. They talked about it, the act of reciprocation,
This is what I'm saying.
reciprocity. So basically, what I can do for you, you could do for me, and being able to show that on multiple levels all the time. creating real alliances where it's like, damn, this guy's a reliable person. This is a cool dude. Where it's like people choose for you to be the alpha. Like, this is the guy, him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Alpha is the
Versus
other type of alpha
you
is this,
choosing yourself,
right.
And that's why you're going around dictating.
Well, again, yeah. When we look at it from a street level, yeah. When you look at it from a history, monarch, king perspective, yeah. But when you're looking at it from a day-to-day business corporation level, no. Those are cats that usually make it to the top. Those brute force ones, those are the ones that make it to the top.
right? But it's short lived. Is what I'm saying. It's short lived. It has to be just based off of this is a primal thing.
I don't think so.
This was a study done. This is a primal study that was done. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You can't the top a chimp that's leading with just brute force
Yeah, when you look
is
at
going
it
to be
again,
overtaken by a chimp
but-
that can make alliances with a bunch of chimps that don't like that chimp.
But you're
And
when
it's
you-
over.
When you're talking
Right.
from a physical standpoint, yes, but the world is not run. And when I say that we're outside of like army, I'm talking about just business corporations, stuff like that. That's not run off a physical standpoint. So that doesn't necessarily carry over as nicely as it does with the chimps or as it does in the streets, because it's not ruled physically. So that cat that's ruling from that aggressive do as I say standpoint, those are cats that tend to be winning, unfortunately. Unfortunately, those are cats that tend to be up top because we can't use it from a physical standpoint.
But it's short lived that they're doing it that way. Is what I'm saying. Because the other alpha is going to be there longer, the one that create the relationships. Because guess what? I create a bunch of relationships. You ruling by dominance, but I got a bunch of people that don't like you. Boom, you're out of there. Now I'm still ruling because I'm able to create relationships, reciprocity. People feel,
And
people trust me.
influence.
Influence. That's a good one. Influence. That's why, like I said, those two alphas are two different alphas.
I dig you, but I don't think the second alpha is always winning. I think obviously that's the better version of the leader you want. But unfortunately, the way the world is structured, I don't think that guy is always winning.
I used to stick my neck out just for them to turn around and wanna see me bled out. Gotta keep an evil eye, they try to put a hex out. None of you can match the quality, you feel like thread count. Used to have a lot of fucks to give, now I'm fresh out.